Hi guys, and welcome to the first video tutorial for 2022. In today's video we are going to learn how to paint very loose leaves using the ZenART number 8 round, and we are going to be using a combination of white nights, my set of 36, well obviously we're just using the two colors to get this green, and then we are also using some champagne. It's a very pretty metallic bronzy gold color by KMS Metallics, and we're just going to be using that to do a nice little splatter and highlight some of the veins and details in some of the leaves. Alright, and for paper I am using Canson XL. This video is ideal for people who are just starting out in watercolor and you would like to practice the basic strokes, get used to your brushes, get used to your color, get used to all the mixing, and then just create something pretty, because I always say if you're practicing, at the end of it you should have something to show. So I always like to practice and then have something pretty. This is also one step further into the loose style of watercolor dimension. So if you like that style, it's very relaxing, there's no pressure on perfection, it's just about letting loose and having fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is start mixing my colors, and for my colors I'm going to be using a combination of my White Nights yellowish green, which is right there, and I'm going to get that mixed in with some Mars brown to give me more of a green that looks like the regular green. Now the reason I'm mixing and not just directly using my green right there is because I'd like to use some of the other colors that are underused, and here's how you can also learn to skirt around that issue and mix and create your own colors. So let's get right into mixing right now. I've got some beautiful green mixed up right here, and my paper is ready. Again, we're using the Zen Art brush number 8, and we are ready to begin. So zoomed in just a little bit so you can see a tad bit better. We're going to start off by doing these leaves in 3 strokes, and we want to make sure that we're using the brush. Pay special attention to how I'm holding the brush, the kind of pressure that you can see me applying, and you'll notice that based on how much of the brush bristles I'm pressing down on the paper. So I'm going to try and make this as informative, because again, these are a very loose style of leaves. Not again, this is my first time mentioning it, and you want to make sure that you're getting it to look very, what's the word, flowy. So here we go. So I'm going to start off by doing a stroke at the top here, and I'm pressing down, as you can see, and then immediately I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water, and I'm kind of just doing another stroke right away, and then another one here, and there we've got one leaf. Right now let's also try and control, watch me add, by the way, watch me add these tiny little strokes on the side. Let's also try and control the size of leaves that we get here on the brush using this brush, because it is a number 8, so it's fairly big, right? And we want to make sure we're getting something that we can not replicate the same size throughout, but get different sizes. So I'm going to do another leaf over here on this end. So I'm going to draw my stem, and what I'm going to do is from the stem this time I'm just going to press and push outward and kind of just have it trail. Again, I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water. I'm kind of just doing one to the side here, another one to this side, and trying to give my leaves a very organic shape so that they all don't look very much like the same shape. So you can kind of get the impression that maybe they are flowing in the wind or they're kind of turning in certain directions. And what I'm doing now is just getting a little extra color, and I'm just kind of touching up the bottom of the leaf just so that we have nice areas of light and dark all around. Okay, so that's typically how you would do that. Now we want to enhance on this leaf pattern that we have going. So again, we're just going to keep on dipping. And the nice thing about using the Zen Round 8 is that the tip of this brush is super pointed, and it really allows you to kind of barely scrape the surface and paint on your stem, and then kind of really press down on the thickness of the brush to get that nice thick leaf. We're also going to try some very loose, thinner leaves. So you'll see how that works as well. So I'm just going to get a little bit more of this color, and we're going right in to continue painting a couple more leaves. So I'm going to turn my page this way, and we're going to start off by doing another one here. You can see how thin this stem is right there. And again, for this one, you know what? I'm going to turn it back this way, and I'm going to do a leaf using the tip of my brush, pressing down and kind of going to the stem. And then the other side, I'm just using the tip to kind of give it a line, kind of outlining where it ends, where the right side of the leaf ends. And again, just going back in my color palette and getting some more color to kind of outline the bottom of the leaf. And you can add some at the top as well. So feel free to kind of take your time doing these leaves. Add a couple of strands here and there, like, you know, like this. And this adds some nice flow to your painting as well. So you're not just having just the leaves here, you're having enhancements like adding these tiny little strokes here and there that kind of make it feel like there's more movement happening in your painting. Okay, so I'm going to do this next leaf happening right on top of this area here. So again, let's make this one kind of flowing this way. Dipping the tip of my brush in water. I'm just going to add the next stroke, and I'm just adding light strokes to the side of it. Kind of give it that nice loose feel. And you can feel free to go in and add, getting some color on the tip of your brush, feel free to go and add another stroke of dark color and touch up the leaf here and there. And that kind of adds something. I'm just going to do a couple really loose looking ones here. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm literally just doing my main stroke by pressing my brush down from the tip and then trailing off. And then I'm just highlighting the areas around my leaf. And in fact, these tiny little strokes, I would say if you just want to get your leaves down first and then go in and do the strokes later, that would also work. So this is the basic idea of doing the leaves. This video is supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be educating and also a motivation to practice these simple strokes to get something pretty and dainty like leaves going for you. So I'm going to make the rest of this a time lapse so you can see the kind of pattern that I can come up with once I've taken the time to kind of just orchestrate where I want my leaves flowing and going, and then we'll get back to the thin leaves. Okay, so I'll be right back. Right, so this is what we've ended up with after I went in and did the rest of the leaves. And so now we're going to end off with just doing some thin, loose leaves, kind of like this, almost like blades of grass, kind of just giving a little more light aesthetic to our thick leaves that we have going on. I don't know if that actually made sense, but we're going to run with that and you'll see what I mean when we're done with this. Okay, so I clearly mixed a little more green here. There was slightly more of the yellowish green than the brown, and so that's why it looks a lot darker. But it kind of again, it enhances, color variation always enhances your artwork. So never kind of focus on trying to perfect something, because your imperfections and the happy mistakes, like we like to call them, actually make the painting that much better. So keep that in mind as we are continuing on. And here we go for the light leaves. So I'm using the tip of my brush again, and I'll just do one falling. I'll do one kind of, because we've got one falling this way, let's do one kind of coming out this way, right? And then again, I want these to be a lot lighter, not just in weight, but also in color tone. So I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water, and I'm just going to go ahead using the tip of my brush and then press down and kind of lightly come down this way. And then do a lighter stroke here, and then another one here, because I like to do things in threes. And then you can always kind of like just do one at the very top. And there we go. So we've got something very light, and it kind of adds something nice to our composition here. So again, we can do the same thing like we did up there over here at the bottom, and end the painting really, but we will be enhancing this, so stay tuned for that too. So just very lightly, I am using the tip of my brush, light pressure, and then very intentionally making sure that I stop at the stem that I have painted in. Same thing here, and there we go. We really don't need to do too much. And again, feel free to go ahead and enhance your painting and your composition to your liking, because this is something that you need to do and like it at the end. So this is where I'm going to stop, and I'm going to allow this to dry just a tad bit more, and then we're going to enhance this with some gorgeous looking metallics. Champagne by KMS Metallics is what I will be using, and we're just going to give some key prominent leaves in here, some veins, and some structure in them. I've already kind of gone ahead and mixed in some of my champagne metallics from KMS, and we're going to go ahead and start. I have it on my brush already. Using the tip of my brush, I'm going to go and start creating some nice little veins onto my leaves. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start with this guy right here, and literally just one down the center. And then what I want to do is create these tiny little lines. They don't have to kind of meet all the way. You can kind of have them disconnect and then kind of continue on. So almost like a very illustrative style if you want. And you don't have to continue this till the very end of the leaf either. So you can have some that go all the way to the end. You can have some that kind of stagger and kind of disconnect before, or some missing in there as well. It's up to you. Leave that up to you. So there we've got one, and let's go ahead and make this one at the top another one that has some metallic. Okay, so again, just kind of thinking about which way. Yeah, let's kind of paint this in from the top down. Make sure you're using just the tip of your brush, and that might take a little bit of practice, but this is where, you know what, just go ahead, take a sheet of paper and start painting these leaves, and just go crazy, just trying to get the technique, especially if you're new, and loosening up, and kind of familiarize yourself with using just the tip of your brush, and then kind of really pressing down on the brush to kind of get these big layers of color on here, as you can see. So there are two very different feelings, and once you start using the brush, and also depends on which brush you're using, because sometimes you could use, every brush is different is what I'm trying to say. So get used to your brush, and you'll find that you prefer some brushes over the other, and that's just how it is, and that's perfectly normal and fine. I like to have a variety of different brushes, just depending on what I am painting. But here you go. This is it. And so we've got 3. We could certainly end at 3, but what I'm going to do is add these tiny little dots here and there, because I find adding those kind of really enhance and help with making your painting that much looser looking or prettier. And now you can also use the splatter rule, which is you're pretty much getting some color onto your brush, and then you're taking another brush, but also make sure you've got fairly enough water on your brush so that when you do the splatter, there's enough water and pigment on here that'll splatter all over. So we're now going to take another brush, just whatever's handy, and we're then going to tap this brush on the brush with the ink, and that's how we get our nice splatter effects. Let me just move this out of the way so you can see better. And here we go. Now if you don't want to get your surroundings dirty, just make sure you're painting on a over like a sheet, like put down a sheet of paper or something that you can dispose of later. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, now if you want bigger splatters, I suggest getting more water in there, and then you get some bigger splatters. Having a variety of different sizes of splatter really does enhance your artwork as well. Also color, so if you want to do this in green, you should absolutely go ahead and do it in green too. Anyways, this is the full tutorial. I hope it was fairly easy and it'll help you guys getting adjusted to watercolor if this is your first time, while creating something pretty and loose. So this is your first step. Hope you enjoyed this video. Practice, 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 and hit the like button if you're new to this channel. Please consider subscribing and join me this Sunday for a Sunday Live, and we're going to be practicing these pretty things that we've just done here. All right, thanks guys for watching, and oh, can't wait to see your work on Instagram, so follow me there at Hello Clarice G or on Facebook and tag me or send me a DM. Would love to see your work. Thanks guys. Bye.